Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florentin, and this will be the first installment in a series of videos about me reading this new book I just got, Los Romeros, Royal Family of the Spanish Guitar. I bought this book a few months back, but haven't had the time to actually read it. And now I've been on winter break for a few days, and I had some time to start reading it, and I want to share a few videos as I read through the book. I've done at least a couple other videos like this before. I did a video series on this book. If you're a bass player or a guitar player, you probably know the name Victor Wooten, one of the best bass players, one of the best musicians of our time. Victor Wooten, and this is his book called The Music Lesson. I highly recommend this. I'll place a link of that video at the bottom. I think it's a series of 4 or 5 videos as I read through the book and share my thoughts. You can look at that at the bottom if you want. And also last year I did a few videos on this book about Julian Bream. Unfortunately, he passed away last year. And he passed away right before or after I finished my series on this book. And so I encourage you to watch this if you get a chance. I think there's 3 or 4 videos on this. This was an awesome book. It was my second reading. I'll place a link for those videos at the bottom as well. Now, the book I started reading now, again, it's called Los Romeros, Royal Family of the Spanish Guitar. If you're a classical guitarist, if you're into flamenco music and music from Spain, or even just classical music in general, you probably know who they are. And this book, it came out fairly recently, actually 2018, so it's kind of a new book. I'll place an Amazon link of this at the bottom if you want to read along with me. The book has some 300 pages or so. If you take out the index pages and the resources in the back, if I take those out, the actual book is about 270 pages or so to read. Okay, very nice format. This is a soft cover. I think I paid $13 on Amazon. So if you want to get the book and read along with me, I'll place a link at the bottom for you. I read a few of the chapters. I'm going to divide this into 4 or 5 videos. There's an introduction, then there's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and an encore. So I'll do maybe 6 videos on this. An introduction, then the 4 parts, and then a conclusion at the end. So who are the Romeros? This is a family of classical guitarists from Spain that moved to the United States at the beginning of the 20th century and really revolutionized the world of classical guitar and even the world of classical music, some could argue. And this was a family, so it was a father and some of his boys, and the names changed over the years as the boys got older, so I'm not going to get into that right now. So it was a family of classical guitarists, and began their journey in Spain and then a little bit in Cuba and then the United States at the beginning of the 20th century. Now, the book itself starts with a few forewords. It's a foreword section where 3 or 4 famous people write a little bit of a foreword to the book. The first person is Jesus Lopez Cobos, and I honestly don't know who that is. And the second person is Cernville Mariner, and he's also on the cover at the top there. And the third person is Federico Moreno Toroba, who is a Spanish composer of the 20th century. He wrote music for Segovia and for the Romeros. So that's a big name right there. And the fourth person who writes in the foreword is Cecilia Rodrigo. She's the daughter of Joaquin Rodrigo, the great Spanish composer who wrote all these great works for the instrument. He was blind. He was a blind composer from Spain, and he wrote his amazing music for classical guitar solo and also with orchestra. He wrote these amazing concertos that you can listen. You can look them up if you want. And so his daughter Cecilia wrote. She wrote the larger section in the foreword. The introduction to the book. Basically, the author is Walter Aaron Clark. Okay, he basically introduces the family, already settled in California, and presents kind of like what happens on a normal day. So he kind of presents the background in a household, and with lots of instruments laying around, lots of classical and flamenco guitars laying around, and lots of musical scores laying around, and even a rehearsal with some of the siblings. These are already grown men, okay, and rehearsing different pieces of repertoire and memories of their father, who started the whole thing. So the introduction is just a glimpse in what a day in the Romeros household might look like. And then the section ends with some acknowledgments from the author, for people and organizations that helped them put the book together. Like I said, the book is fairly new, 2018, so that's awesome. And I'll read it in the next few weeks or so, time permitting. Now, me personally, I've seen the Romeros. I've seen them live. So I was fortunate to see them live. I think it was 1993. It was my first year of going to music school. I studied classical guitar performance at DePaul University in Chicago. And as a group, we traveled to Southern Illinois. I think it was Millikan University, but I don't remember. It was a long time ago. It was some 30 years ago, right? And we traveled there for a weekend-long guitar conference. And you have lots of workshops there and competition and lessons and performances, and also every night you would have a concert presented by somebody famous. So back then we had the Romeros do the last concert. It was the Sunday night, and I remember it was one of the first concerts I ever saw with live guitar music in it. I think the very first one was Margarita Escarpa from Spain. She came to Chicago and played a live concert for us. So that was amazing. And I think my second one was the Romeros. So we sat there, and it was a huge concert hall, and they walked on the stage. And Celedonio, who's the father who started the whole thing, was still alive. And the performance was simply amazing. And there were some solos, and the father played, and there were some duets, but also all of them played together, and that was just an amazing performance. So I remember that. I also saw Pepe Romero, Pepe and Angel, the two of them went on to create huge solo careers later. But I did see Pepe live as well later in the 90s, probably the late 90s. And he played a concert as part of the Segovia Classical Guitar Series at Northwestern University in Chicago. So I saw that concert as well. So anyways, those are my memories of seeing the Romeros and Pepe Romero live. And I'm looking forward to reading this book and learning more and getting a closer look at the family, at the music they played, at the way they practiced and performed and traveled. And it's a really special book for me. Lots of pictures in there. Maybe I'll find some pictures from their Illinois performance back in 1993. Here's a picture of the father, Celedonio, and lots of really personal information about the family, which is kind of nice. So looking forward to reading this book and sharing each section with you. If this is not something that interests you, just skip the videos, I guess. I have a great variety of videos on my channel. But if this is something that interests you, I invite you to come along and follow along. If you want to get the book and read it with me, you're welcome to do that. I have a link, I have an Amazon link at the bottom. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you in advance for that. Don't forget to click that bell so that you don't miss my uploads, and also give this video a like if you get a chance. So this is the first installment, the introduction to me reading the book Los Romeros, Royal Family of the Spanish Guitar, a book by Walter Aaron Clark, and really looking forward to sharing each section with you. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. See you later.